Hello and welcome. This is not just cricket powered by Sky247.net और भाई ये सिर्फ क्रिकेट की बात थी भी नहीं, ये थी आरसीबी की शान की बात, ये थी एलिमिनेटर्स का जो जिंक्स है उनका उसको तोड़ने की बात. And yes, they are now going to face Rajasthan in Ahmedabad in the second qualifier. But this match did not have Virat written over it, did not have Faf written over it. It had Rajat Patidar written all over it. And that's the power of the Indian T20 League, where they give you a stage like that for performing and, of course, bringing out your talent. 112, not out. I'm joined by Deep Das Gupta and Nile O'Brien. Let's break it down. I'll start with you, Deep. The talent that Rajat Patidar has proved to be.
That this is one of the best innings I've seen in a long, long time. I'll be honest. It was absolutely brilliant. That innings, obviously, Quinton de Kock's 140 a few games ago comes to mind, but this is right up there amongst one of the best T20 innings I've seen in a while. That pitch was not that easy. Trust me. I mean, you can figure that out. I mean, he scored at 200 strike rate, while the others they went at 120. So that's the difference. 120 the others and him over 200. So that's how good he was. He was absolutely fabulous today. Yes, he was given a couple of reprieves, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't take away anything from the brilliance of that innings from Rajat Patidar. Listen, he's been in good form. He's been contributing last year, but this was something extremely, extremely special.
And my eyes were a little wide just looking at the number of sixes and fours that have been hit by the man. And, Niall, for a man who came in as a replacement, and then nobody would have imagined him to play an innings like that. And at this stage.
As Deep says, in form. You look at his numbers. He's had a good career to date. His numbers in all cricket, first class cricket, list A cricket, and T20 cricket are all very, very good. So he obviously is a very talented player. But sometimes you just need the stage really to showcase your skills. And he's sitting in some wonderful company there, must be said. Like to say Vag, Watson, maybe Vijay Saha. But tonight, to do it when you've lost one early, you're under a bit of pressure, the pitch is doing a little bit, and he was batting on a different surface. He really was. It's a moment in his career. He may not have a better moment in his life, and that is the unbelievable thing. But that's something that you cannot take away from a batter. And he's put his side within touching distance of a final. It was beautiful. Everyone spoke about Faf, Virat. No, not tonight. Not tonight. Brilliant.
Not tonight. Not tonight for sure. Fifth highest score in the playoffs. Like Niall very rightly mentioned, the man has made it in some esteemed company. But talking about the game in itself, especially from Lucknow's end, it was a game of fine margins. I mean, if you talk about Patidar, he was dropped at 72, then he was dropped at 93, then DK was dropped at just 3, and then they went on to make 74 runs out there. Yeah. It was like at some level, Lucknow did give this match to Bangalore.
Yeah, poor Philly, and that's something I go way back to when I was in Mumbai at the first week of the tournament, watching the games at Wankhede and Brabourne, and I said it then, and I'm still saying it. The one area of the Lucknow team that's let them down time and time again has been their fielding, whether it be catching, ground fielding, and tonight, well, they've gifted, as you say, over 70 odd runs, and in the end, it's cost them, and it's one of those facets of the game. Sometimes a batter will have a great day out. We've all seen it. Someone plays innings you can't do anything about, or somebody has a exceptional day with the ball and they get a hat-trick. Fielding is something you have to do as a professional. Whether you like it or not, you have to field. And if you're not willing to field and not get the disciplines right, you're going to cost your team a game somewhere along the line. And unfortunately for Lucknow, it's cost them tonight at the most crucial of stages.
Indeed, it has. I mean, as you look at that innings by Bangalore, it looked difficult for them to reach 190, and then they went on to make 200 plus runs. That's how the innings progressed. I mean, take a look at that. Rajat Patidar 112 for 54. Then of course DK, the kind of finisher that he's just moved on to be, Niall. I mean, that should be his second name right there.
Well,
DK
amazing.
The finisher.
Yeah, DK the finisher, amazing. Write him off at your peril. He's done it all tournament, to be fair. And that's just another little gem of an innings. Virat was slow up front, but They preserved some wickets early on. Lucknow again only using 5 bowlers. You can't keep getting hit for 10 and over and only using 5 bowlers. No Marcus Stoinis. I'm led to believe he's fit. There's no injury. Just sneak him in for an over. Just try and break up the rhythm. For Lucknow, they didn't bowl well. Apart from Muhsin Khan, who was amazing. We must give him some praise. But apart from that, they're disappointing with ball in hand and their fielding. But, it's all about Bangalore. That was a great batting performance. Lovely century. And DK, excellent with bat in hand. But, even still, look now in the chase. They were right in the game. They had wickets in hand, batters set. No, following the game, watching the game, and you're never writing them off. You always feel they've got a chance. And Bangalore with the ball, they started getting. You could see they were getting tense wides, and then DK misses one for 5 wides, which was shocking keeping. Really, DK, get your pads behind it, and you're thinking surely they're not going to blow this gilt-edge opportunity, but they hung on in there.
Indeed. And of course, yet again, you just have to give credit to, of course, Rajat Patidar, but also Harshal Patel when he came in and changed the game when KL Rahul just got going. But I still have to keep talking about Patidar, just the kind of fortunes this man has had when he was called in as a replacement for Lubni Sisodia. And neither the franchise nor him would have envisaged such a destructive innings at this platform and at this very crucial stage of the playoffs where, it's an eliminator and this is where you go back home and the man comes and performs. Just the courage of the man to be performing in nowhere but Eden Gardens where you got more than, 70,000 plus fans watching you.
Well, yeah, we spoke before the game, 70,000 fans, how does one react? Some people might crumble. Yeah. Some people might, stick their chest out, puff their chest out, say this is the stage. He was probably very disappointed not to be signed originally. So then he gets a chance as a replacement player. He gets a second opportunity as a replacement player, and he says, you know what, 70,000 people, I'm going to show everyone across India, not just the franchise that I play for, I'm going to show everyone exactly what I can do. Because, looking through his numbers in his career, he's obviously a fine batter. List A is good, first class is good, T20 is good. Sometimes, cricket's a weird game, a bizarre game. People make themselves heroes at different stages. Some people make themselves a star when they're 18 and their career is set from there. Some people maybe have their limelight later. But today, don't underestimate how good a knock that is. That was a beautiful bit of timing. He took the spinner down in that power play when they had to take. The power play was going nowhere. It was crawling along. And I was just thinking, somebody do something. And then he just played with the bowler. Hit him over mid-on twice. Put mid-on back, bring mid off it. Boom, easy. Ball back of a length, punch it through point. Just top class. And, he's made a name for himself now. So he's going to be a household name in this tournament moving forward. Great knock.
Yep, it's not Patidar, it's actually Patidar now that people have dissected his name because that one deserves a party for sure. All right, so let's dissect the game a little and let's look at some numbers as to where the game was won and lost, where the momentum changed for both the teams. If we take a look at this deep, look at Bangalore in the first 6 and then 7-15 and then 16-20 and Lucknow on the other hand. Where do you think the game changed?
I think the last 4 overs there. I mean, for Bangalore, obviously, we've already spoken about the drop catches. That really costed Lucknow quite a bit, with the DK being dropped on 3 and then 93 and 78 or 72 for Patidar. I think that really costed them quite a bit. And for Lucknow, those last 3 overs, yes, the 16th over was very expensive, Bishnoi. But again, going back to Patidar and how good he is against spin. I mean, you would expect that from a domestic Indian player who's been playing domestic cricket for a while. You expect him to be good against spin, and he just showed today, phenomenal batting. But for me, I think the last 4-5 overs, either way, when Bangalore was batting and then when Lucknow was batting, Bangalore won the game in the last 5 overs, both the innings.
Yeah, I also the numbers that we saw there, Niall, Bangalore had 320 plus overs, but Lucknow had none of them.
Well, yeah, in a T20 game, you say normally 2 overs changes the game, changes the contest. Whether it be ball in hand, you pick up 3 or 4 wickets, it kills the game. You have two good overs, and that's where I look now. Even in the chase, I was watching it. They've pretty much got this game under control. Really, they need 12 and over, 13 and over for 4 or 5 overs. That's
Yeah.
well within your grasp. In this tournament, on the surface, with a bit of dew about, you're backing yourself. You've got Marcus Stone is batting, and we've got skipper Kale Rhodes. So you're thinking, actually, yeah, it's going to be a good chase. You just want one big over. You're looking for that one over that goes 18 or 20, as you say, and it never came. And it was there for them. It was there for Lucknow. That's going to be the biggest. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be the biggest crux for them to when they leave the hotel tomorrow. And I'm led to believe they're checking out tomorrow at midday. They're out of the hotel. They're gone. Flights booked. As soon as you lose a game, you're out of there. They'll be on the plane tomorrow thinking, you know what, that game was there for us to take. Because when you lose a semi or a knockout, call it what you will, eliminator, if you lose to a team that's played better, comfortably better, you can say, that game was there for Lucknow to win. They could have won that. Bangalore were wilting. In the back end with the
Yeah.
ball, they were wilting. Wides, 5 wides, and Lucknow just let it out of their grasp. But, it's a beautiful game. That's why we love it. That's why we keep coming back to it.
Yeah, I mean, actually, if you come to think of it, even if they didn't get 20 plus runs in any of the overs, they did have the game very much in the hand till the very 16th over when KL Rahul just got going. But then came Harshal Patel's over, where he got Huda's wicket, and that's where I thought the game changed completely. Those
Yeah,
three
to a
overs.
certain,
Yeah,
to a certain extent that over, and also the 18th over, that Stoinis wicket, and that very over. And we talked
correct.
about Harshal Patel. That just tells his maturities. He started bowling round the wicket. First couple of
Yeah,
deliveries, wide Yorkers, conceded a wide and a 5 run. So conceded 6 without a one legal delivery. So at that point in time, they need 35 of 18 or something. But then the comeback. So obviously, quickly realized that's not going to happen tonight. He came over the wicket, bowled those slower delivery and a short pitch, and that wicket of Stoinis. I mean, when Stoinis got out, it was 173 in 17.3, as if I'm not wrong. And from there on, even after that wicket, it's kind of comfortable, right? You've got 7 batters to come in. You need another 27 and 7, 34 of
yeah,
15, 16 balls, which is very, very doable with a set batter like Rahul. But Harshal Patel was absolutely brilliant, even the last over and the 18th over. And just to add to that, Hazelwood, we were discussing, and we keep talking about Hazelwood not being a good death over bowler. Oh, what a
yeah.
19th up was. I mean, the wide
3 wickets.
Yorker,
Yeah,
lower,
yeah,
was phenomenal that 19th over. And come see, with Harshal Patel, you expect something like that because we used to Harshal bowling that well in the death. But Hazelwood bowling that 19th and the way he bowled was absolutely brilliant.
yeah. On the other hand, if you talk about KL Rahul, I mean, of course, a drop catch, and then when you talk about his innings, did you think that it was a little slow considering the equation that we had today? Or was it again that Quinton de Kock's early wicket, the man had to play an anchor's role is because, of course, the middle order is very fragile now?
No, I think he got his team into a position to win the game. The only difference this game as opposed to games in the past, he's normally got them over the line. The strike rate 136, 79 from 58. We've praised them all tournament and for year in year out for being a shrewd assessor of a situation, and I think he got themselves his team in a position to win that game. Okay, it didn't go their way. He probably didn't get some support that he probably needed. Maybe that little bit of impetus at the back end. You need someone to come in and pump 20 off 8 balls or do an innings like Dinesh Karthik kind of innings. He didn't get that support. So, of course, when you lose, you're going to look and say, you could have batted faster. He could have hit one up in the air second or third over trying to go too hard, and they wouldn't have got anywhere close. So I think Rahul did a good job there. He played his hand. He played the way he plays, and he got his side in position to win the game. And they could have and maybe should have won the game.
Yeah. Deep, could he have notched up the pace a bit? Would it be a different
Not
story?
really. I've got to agree with what Niall said. Listen, if he had gotten out early, they might have bundled for 160. You know what I'm saying? So there is
Yeah.
no one in that. I mean, I won't say no one. That's too harsh a word. But you would expect someone like Kale to stay there. And this is one of those innings, as Niall mentioned. If he wins this game, if he's right there till the end, this is one of the best innings you would have seen. But because he couldn't finish, suddenly questions are being asked. But end of the day, it's about the game winning, right? and they were in a position to win that game. I think they were in a very, at that point in time, that 17th over, 35 of
Yeah,
18 or whatever it was, they were at least 65, 70 percent ahead in that game, for sure, with two set batters there. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't criticize that innings. I mean, I thought he was the reason that they reach where they reach. Obviously, got to give credit to someone like Huda, Deepak Huda.
Deepak Huda. Yeah,
Yeah, so you can't look at KL Rahul's innings in isolation. You have to look at that partnership. That Deepak Huda 45 of 26, along with KL's innings, you've got to put it together and see as a partnership how well they did. I think that's more
yeah.
important at times, and especially games like this. I think it was. I mean, we got to look at the partnerships at times as well. I think Deepak Huda's innings was again an incredible one. Somebody who's been very, very consistent this tournament.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, like, not just for this particular innings in this eliminator match, but also throughout the season, the man has done his job. Deep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'd
At
be
three,
very.
at number four. Sorry, Niall, go on.
I just saying this. I haven't seen a great deal of Deepak Huda up close and personal over the last few years, but I've been mightily impressed in this tournament. I think he's come into this tournament with a point to prove. I go back to that first game when he played, 451 runs, excellent. Great 450s, exceptional. I go back to the first game of the tournament. I think that I watched was Lucknow against Gujarat, the two new teams, and there was a bit of animosity in the ground. There was a bit of hype between himself and Hardik Pandya, if I'm not mistaken. There's a bit of history there. And what I saw on the pitch, I saw a character. I saw someone who wanted to take the game by the scruff of his teeth and get in the contest. And he played well that game. He got 50 odd, and Ayush Badoni played well. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, I like a bit of Huda. So
Yeah.
he could be really chuffed with that. 450 runs at a good strike rate, 4.5 centuries. Most batters will snap your hand off batting where he bats. Not an easy position.
Yeah, indeed. While Lucknow's fielding for sure was disappointing today, and even the bowling was not on point, there's one man that you have to give credit for. His bowling is Mohsin Khan. You were talking about it right, on top of the match that this is the man to look out for, and this is the man that he pitched against Bangalore's openers. Now he picked up a wicket, gave away just 25, while his entire team conceded 207. How far is the man away from that India cap, do you think?
I would like to believe not too far, and I think I did mention it in the pre-match show that I think I won't be surprised if he puts on the India colors in the next 2-3 months. There's a lot of
Yeah.
T20 that India is going to play before the World Cup, and I would not be surprised at all if we see him in one of those series, because he's got the skill set. Only thing that might go against him, the fact that he does not have too much of experience in terms of domestic cricket, but because he's a fast bowler, he's a seamer. At times, you kind of overlook that aspect. If it was a batter or something, then you might think differently, or a spinner for that matter. But because he's a quick bowler, same goes with someone like Umran Malik. Because these guys are quick bowlers, you might not, might overlook that aspect. But yeah, he's got the skill set. He's fast. He's smart. He's matured. I mean, he's definitely. I mean, looking at the number of games that he's played in his career, which isn't a lot, he comes across as a very matured young man. So yeah, like I said, next 3 months won't be surprised.
Yeah, impactful young man, Niall. I mean, 14 wickets in 9 games at an economy of
Yeah.
5.96.
Yeah, dream numbers. Before the tournament, most bowlers, if you can get 1 wicket a match on average, maybe for 9 games, if you can get 12 wickets, you think you've had a good campaign. Anything around 14, 15, that's a really, really top class campaign. And when you're very rarely you get fast bowlers who are taking wickets and keeping the economy down. Normally you say, give me, a Rabada, even a Rabada going down the years, got a lot of wickets, but he got flogged a bit, but he get a lot of wickets. So you say, you know what, 3 for 40 is excellent. He's getting wickets and he's keeping the runs down. I'm just wondering, a lot of the more experienced Indian fast bowlers, with the World Cup 4 and a bit months away, 5 months away, looking over the shoulder now, because there's 2 or 3 players that have come out of this tournament now, just saying, you know what, yeah, I want a bit of this T20 World Cup. I want to take some of these more senior statesmen on. So it's going to be interesting for the coaching and captains to see how they go about this next period. India come to Ireland next month, play two T20s in Ireland, a good opportunity to blood some new players, and they've got quite a bit of white ball cricket between now and the World Cup. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see some new faces, and that's what this tournament's all about: unearthing new talent, young, old. Someone comes in, gets 128 years of age, so be it. Someone comes along as a 19-year-old and does well with the ball. That's what it's all about. Competition for places. That's what makes international teams successful.
That's right. All right, talking about interesting. For sure, social was interesting given the Eliminator was on. Bangalore was playing. And of course, it is the Indian T20 League 2022. Let's take you to the social tracker powered by Sky247.net. All right then, gentlemen, let me tell you, there were quite a few memes. And this one's first one, Wasim Jafar, who's also, of course, following us to be not for the faint-hearted. Not at all. Not at all. Now, being an RC fan is... Okay, the next one. Rajat Patidar. Okay, this is a little small for me, so I can't read it very clearly. But
let me help you out.
unsold. Oh,
Rajat
yeah.
Patidar went unsold at the 2022 IPL auction and was signed at the lowest possible price by RCB as a replacement player. Halfway through the competition, he was just smashed a 50-ball 100 in an eliminator against Lucknow Super Giants. Yeah, remember the name.
Yes, remember the name. We were just talking about, the kind of track that he's had to come and perform at this stage. All right, Rajat Patidar, what an innings, Patidar. That's where I picked up the line from, actually, when I saw this tweet by Rajat. This one's really nice. So, Niall, actually, Rajat means silver in Hindi.
Oh, wow.
So that's what Gaurav Kapoor is hinting at. His name means silver, but this knock is pure gold. I cannot agree with the man more. So, yeah, absolutely a gorgeous knockout there by Rajat Patidar. Zordar, Shandar, Dhamakedar, Patidar, and that's Akash Chopra. And I'm pretty sure he said it just as on commentary because his voice is ringing in my ear for sure. That's how he must have said it. All right, that's Akash Chopra. Well, of course, Rajat Patidar. But we're talking about the journey that the man has had, Rajat Patidar. I mean, we just saw the tweet and we were talking about it while, he went off. But Niall, I was telling that the fact that he came in as a replacement and to come in and perform at this stage at Eden Gardens, where we were talking about the tactics of the entire scenario, it takes a bit of courage to be doing what he did.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, you could see it coming up. I'm not saying the 100 because he's been in good nick. I mean, before this as well, 4-5 games, he's been getting those 30s and 40s. He was looking good. So, yeah, I mean, you could see that he's in form. And obviously, I mean, it kind of unfair if you think about it. I think he played a few games, 2 or 3 games last season in the first phase of the tournament. And then obviously he did not feature after that. But that's the thing with a lot of franchises. I mean, listen, there's a reason why Mumbai and Chennai are so successful because they put faith in someone, they stick with them, right? And some of the other franchises, 3 games are not good enough. But listen, you pick somebody up because you think is good enough. So basically, you're contradicting your own decision, right? If you chuck somebody after 3 games. So I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess there's a lesson to be learned for everyone with that incident or with that example.
Yeah. Also, looking at the match, I just wanted a word on Faf's captaincy today. The way he used the bowlers across the match. Starting with you, Niall.
Well, he was a brilliant captain for South Africa first and foremost. I think a brilliant leader of men. And when Bangalore went all out to get him, and Virat stepped down as captain, it was inevitable he was going to be captain. And straight away, thinking back to the games in Pune, I think the first game might have been in Pune, he seemed to have, an incredible calming influence. I think they lost, just trying to think back deep, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, they lost the game to Punjab when it was a high-scoring game and, they made some mistakes. And after, you could see the man was disappointed in the post-match press conference, but he was very level-headed. And you said straight away, you know what, there's going to be ups and downs with Bangalore, 100%. there's going to be emotion. There's all the people of Bangalore who are, partying in the streets and down on a Monday after a loss. You just sense with Faf he was going to be a good influence in the dressing room. And when you're in the field and when push comes to shove, when you're up against it, maybe when the emotions run high, and some people, not naming names, but some captains are more emotional than others and show their emotions, and that can have an effect on your team. Faf was fairly level-headed, and I think that, in the tough situations in this tournament, when people were questioning whether it was going to be their year and whether they're going to do it, Faf has been a steady hand. So his captaincy's always been good. His man management is excellent, and first and foremost, a good player, but he's a really top individual. So I think he's a good leader for this side.
Indeed, he is. All right, Bangalore fans, please don't celebrate as yet because there are two more, big matches coming your way. Let's take a look at numbers tracker powered by Sky247.net. Yeah, well, the Bangalore fans are going to be super happy. Let me just show you the road to the finals. It's not going to be that easy because we've got the second qualifier where Bangalore will face Rajasthan, and the winner of the second qualifier will go on to face Gujarat, who are our first finalists. And the final will be in Ahmedabad as well as qualifier two. Let's take a look at most runs here. Now look at that list. We've got Joss Butler right on top, followed by Rahul, Quinton de Kock, Shikhar Dhawan, and Hardik Pandya. Joss the boss right on top with 718 runs out there. Strike rate 148.34. Also, this is the end of course, Rahul's campaign, but let's take a look at most wickets. Yuzvinder Chahal has Ranga, Kagiso Rabada, Umran Malik, and Kuldeep Yadav. Now, while we are definitely looking at most the battle that's on between Chahal and Hazranga, there has to be a word on the way Hazranga fielded today. Hazranga's
Oh yeah, I
fielding
mean,
today.
yeah. Listen, he's as we call 3D player. I mean, he bowls. Obviously, that bowling is his strongest suit, but he's a gun fielder. He contributes with the bat. He's proper value add to that team, and yeah, he's been absolutely fabulous. And these are the guys that you really like to have in your team because not because they're good bowlers or good fighters, but they're 100% guys. Whatever they do, there might be a few of them who are not as talented as Hasranga is, but you rather have somebody who's ready to die for you on the field than somebody who's extremely talented but won't go that far. Hasranga is
Yeah.
one guy who has the talent and also the heart to go all the way.
Yep, indeed. And let's talk about the next game, which is Rajasthan
Tomorrow,
versus Bangalore. And of course, no, not tomorrow, day after, right? Day after. We
tomorrow.
have a one day. Okay, it's already tomorrow, is it? Oh, 12:46. My bad. My bad. I am looking at the battle between Chahal and Hazranga. That would be interesting. What do you think about it now?
Well, listen, I tipped Butler to be top run scorer and I tipped Chahal to be top wicket taker. So I am going to stick with my guns. Two lovely bowlers, I must have. Two good characters, actually. Play the game in the right spirit, play with a smile on the face. They give it a rip. Both turn the ball nicely. Hassaranga's got both got lovely googly, actually, truth be told. There's not a great deal between them. I don't know if Deep disagrees. I think they're both just top class exponents. Hassaranga's been doing it for probably 24 months. Had a taste of the tournament last year, and Bangalore went back from again, and rightly so. Probably hasn't got the attention that maybe deserves. Rashid Khan down the years has got a lot of plaudits in T20 cricket, but Hasaranga and Chahal, well, they are just two beautiful leg spin bowlers. So there's not much between them. But as I said, before balls bowl, I said Chahal. I'm going to stick with him to outbowl Hasaranga in the next match.
Yes. And Dev, I am backing Chahal because he's got an added motive to perform in front of that team.
Yeah, which is true. It's also going to be interesting because the game's in Ahmedabad, and Ahmedabad has two different kind of pitches. One is a black soil, the other is a red. One obviously has a lot more carry, the other has a little more turn. It'll be interesting to see which surface is going to be used, which one. So yeah, but like Niall said, it's very difficult to differentiate because both of them are very old school, little side armish, not the new generation of leg spinners who bowl with very straight arms. So
Yeah.
these two are very kind of old school with leg spins which actually turns, and the googlies as well. So very old school that way, very traditional leg spinners, these two. So yeah, and but again, both of them extremely smart. Extremely smart in terms of reading the batters and stuff. So they operate a little differently. But for example, Yuzi would be a little slower in the air outside of some, that kind. But Hasranga would be a quick flipper. So they handle things differently, but very similar in nature. But yeah, it's a really good matchup, though.
It is going to be a great matchup. It's because, well, in the group stage, both these teams have won one game against each other. So it is even Stevens. But having said that, Deep, how deep do you think can Bangalore go? Or can they go all the way?
How deep,
But
deep?
be
How
careful.
deep, deep?
There's a
How deep,
Twitter
deep?
following.
Listen, I'm used to this. I'm really used to this. Don't worry about it. Right. So no. Even on comms, when somebody says deep point, I was like, okay, somebody's calling me.
Ah,
Deep mid wicket, yes. Who's calling me? Right.
That
Anyways,
that happens to me every time people say Riddhima Chaza, Riddhima, who called me?
right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
how deep?
So does Bangalore have it in them? Definitely yes. Because from here on, knockout stages are about one good game, right? I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You have a good game. What has happened in the last 14 games does not matter. Or the last 15 games does not matter. On that very day, how good are you? What you can do is all that matters. And we're talking about two teams with a lot of experience. Bangalore and Rajasthan. Someone like Rajasthan, look at that side as well. There's a lot of experience. Rarely one or two like Yashasvi or Patil who are playing the first and second season. Apart from that, and very complete sides. If you look at Bangalore, looks good. RR, well, uh, uh, it's got everything in it. All the boxes, spin, fast bowling, batters. So yeah, it's Bangalore. I think's got it in them. Bangalore definitely has got it in them. But you've got Gujarat waiting in the finals, so
Yeah.
that's
But now
that's
given
not
the
that's
fact that yeah, but the fact that Bangalore comes in with a win, Rajasthan's lost the previous match. Does that make a difference at all now?
yeah, I think it does. To be fair, you're coming back in. You go back to hotel tonight. You have your rest tomorrow. You do your pool session, and you'll just kind of recap, and you'll go into the game full of confidence. Rajasthan, probably less so, but um, Rajasthan's such a good team. Joss, Chahal, Ravi. Hetty missed out, and he's had a good tournament. So yeah, we're talking the smallest details. But I did like Rajasthan from the start of the tournament. I've kind of said from the outset, I liked how they went about their business in the auction. I've backed the batter and bowler to be top wicket taker, top run scorer. I felt they were going to be the leaders. So I know Deep's trying to claw back his fan base because he went against Bangalore tonight. So that's see. I know how vain Deep can be. So now his followers have gone down. So I was trying to claw him back up. So I'll let him have Bangalore, and I'll go with Rajasthan.
Well, hold that thought because talking about these details, we will of course come back on the show. So tonight was just a little bit of a glimpse of what lies ahead. We've got the second qualifier, which is Rajasthan versus Bangalore, being played in Ahmedabad, May 27th. We'll be back at 6:30 p.m. You don't want to miss out on the show because, of course, we're going to have a lot of fun. And it is not just cricket that we talk here. Well, with that, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you guys had a great time. It was a lovely match. Having said that, this is a match that we call now Paisa Vasool. Try saying that. Paisa Vasool.
Peta Fasul.
That's it. That's it.
yes, yeah.
This was a पैसा वसूल match. जो भी जीता, जो भी हारा, match बहुत बढ़िया था भाई. And that's why we love the Indian T20 League. All right. The big question is how far can then Bangalore go? Will they go all the way? But for tonight, Bangalore fans, do have a little fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night.